father was the legendary jazz pianist Phineas Newborn Jr. the second,
Ye-
and
Yes, Junior.
he was born in Tennessee.
Yeah, he was born in Whiteville, Tennessee, but lived most of his life in Memphis, Tennessee.
He, well, not only is a legendary jazz pianist himself, but also his brother and father were jazz musicians too. Yes,
Yeah,
and
my grandfather was a jazz drummer, and
right.
my uncle was a jazz guitarist. And interestingly enough, the story about that is that my grandfather wanted to have basically a trio, a jazz trio.
Mhm.
His wife, Mama Rose, my grandmother, was a singer, a jazz singer. He was a drummer. And he says, well, when we have children, Rose, each of them are going to play an instrument. And my dad was first, and he came out. He was handed the piano. Fortunately, it was just something that he really took to immediately. And then when my uncle was born, he was handed the guitar, so that they would basically be able to have this trio to kind of for them to escape from the poverty of Memphis, Tennessee at that time, and just the typical plight of the African American during that time. And so that was going to be their ticket out. So fortunately, like I say, my father really obviously took to the piano because he was one of the people who was like a prodigy. So when he was 6 years old, he could play Tchaikovsky without ever taking the piano lessons, without ever taking lessons. He could
He's
just
playing
listen
by
to it.
ear.
He was playing by ear. He could just listen to it being played on the radio and go to the piano and start playing it. And they were like, well, how do you do that? And then he got very good at boogie woogie. And that's when my grandfather decided, well, let's put him on stage as a 6-year-old playing boogie woogie and impress the crowd. And many of the crowd thought that he was a little person, thought that he was a midget. Back in those days, they would just call him a midget because they were like, "There's no way that this little 6-year-old can play boogie woogie like that." They were like, "He's got to be a dwarf. He's got to be a little person. You know, he's a full grown adult in this little body." But yeah, so that's basically what happened. And again, that whole period of time, which is such an inspiring part of American history, because that's really the first thing that American culture gave to America that was American, was jazz.
Don't call me Corey Baker, call me Marc Copage, 'cause I'm not Julius, son, not anymore.